Dad's lawyer read the will, she takes over the estate. My sister walked up and said, "Try not to cry too loud." But when I showed her the final letter from Mom, she couldn't stop shaking. I've been sitting in this damn lawyer's office for what feels like hours, but it's probably only been 30 minutes. I can't stop staring at the papers in front of me, trying to focus, trying to understand what I'm hearing. But nothing feels real. Not after all this time, after everything that's happened. Holly's sitting across from me, her arms folded tightly across her chest like she's already bracing for a fight. It's not the first time I've seen her like this. Since Dad passed away, we've barely spoken. It's been years since we were close, and now this? It feels like everything's coming to a head in the worst possible way. The lawyer, Leonard Bates, is sitting at the head of the table, his glasses perched on the end of his nose. He's reading from my dad's will, his voice steady, but the words are starting to feel like they're sinking into my chest, one by one. "We've gone over the usual distribution of assets," Leonard says, glancing up. "Now, moving on to the main portion of Mr. Hatcher's will." He pauses for a second, his fingers tapping the paper nervously before continuing. "I will leave the entirety of my estate, including the family home, business assets, and investments, to my daughter, Lauren." For a second, everything goes still. I'm not sure what I expected, but this wasn't it. This was a slap in the face to everything I thought I knew about my family. I glance up at Holly, and she looks as if the floor's been pulled out from under her. She's been the one to stay behind, the one who helped Dad after the divorce, the one who took care of him when his health started to decline. And she did it all with a sense of duty, like it was her responsibility, and I'd left. I wasn't the one who stuck around, and I've always known that's been an issue between us. But now? Holly's eyes narrow, her lips press into a thin line. Her face is flushed, her breath sharp, like she's trying to contain something. "What the heck is this?" she finally asks, her voice tight. "This doesn't make sense." "I don't know what to tell you, Holly," Leonard says, his voice calm, but I can see the sympathy in his eyes. "Your father made his wishes very clear." I don't respond immediately. I don't know how to. I never expected this, not after everything. The way things had been left between me and Dad. The distance. The space I created years ago when I left home, when I decided to make my life elsewhere. "I took care of him," Holly says, her voice rising. "I was here every day. And now you get everything? This isn't fair." I feel her anger, but it's not the anger I thought it would be. It's something deeper, something harder to put into words. I wasn't the one who stayed. I wasn't the one who kept everything together. I never expected this kind of reaction from her. I wasn't the one who had all the good intentions. I wasn't the one who followed all the rules. And yet, here I am. "I didn't ask for this," I finally say, my voice shaky. "It's not a lie. I didn't want this. I didn't want any of this. All I wanted was to be able to look my dad in the eye one last time and have the chance to make things right. But I never got that. And now here I am, sitting in front of my sister, holding all the things we thought we'd share." Leonard looks between us, uncomfortable, before he clears his throat. "There's more." I stare at him. I know what he's about to say, but I don't want to hear it. The silence between us feels suffocating. I can hear my own heartbeat in my ears. My hands are clammy, and I don't know if I'm angry or just completely numb at this point. Holly stands abruptly, pushing her chair back with such force that it screeches against the floor. She's shaking now, but I'm not sure if it's from anger or something else. She storms toward the window and presses her hand against the glass, as if the view outside could somehow calm her. "I don't need this," she mutters under her breath. I feel it, too, the weight of everything. But it's not just the money, or the house, or the business. It's the way our family has always been. We've been fractured for so long, and maybe this will finally be the thing that breaks us for good. Leonard takes a moment, and then, quietly, he reads the next part. "There's a letter from Mrs. Hatcher," he says. "For you, Lauren." I freeze. I haven't heard my mom's name in so long. She left us when I was 18, packed up and moved halfway across the country. We never spoke much after that. But this letter? This is something I didn't expect. Leonard unfolds the letter, his voice steady as he reads aloud. My dearest Lauren, he starts, when you were born, I knew you would always be the one to fight for everything. Life hasn't always been fair to you, but it's giving you the strength to rise above the challenges. Your father and I may not have always seen eye to eye on many things, but this I know, you are your father's daughter, and I believe in you. His voice cracks slightly at the last sentence. I can't breathe for a second. I hadn't realized how much I needed to hear that, especially from her. It's like a door I didn't even know I had left closed and my heart suddenly creaks open. I've asked Marcus to ensure that you have everything you need to move forward, Leonard continues reading, and that the estate is yours. But more than that, you will always be my daughter, and I am proud of you. I'm not sure what to do with myself after that. I'm shaking now, but it's not from anger. I don't know what it is. It's like a weight that's been sitting on my chest for years has suddenly shifted, and I'm finally breathing again. I look over at Holly, and this time, it's not anger I see in her eyes. It's something else, something harder to place. She's standing at the window, her back to me, her shoulders hunched. But when I stand up and walk toward her, my heart pounding in my chest, she doesn't move. Holly, I say softly, you need to hear this. She doesn't respond at first. Then, with a low, shaky breath, she turns to face me. Her eyes are wide, her cheeks streaked with tears. She doesn't say anything, but her lips tremble, and for the first time, I see the fear in her eyes. I hand her the letter from Mom. She takes it, her fingers trembling as she reads the words. I stand there, watching her, my heart in my throat. I don't know what's going through her mind, but I can see her shaking now, the paper crinkling in her hands as she grips it harder, her lips pressed together in a way that says she's holding something back. She's barely holding it together. And for the first time, I think we might finally be able to talk. Holly doesn't say anything at first. She just stands there, the letter in her hands, her eyes scanning the words. It's like she's reading through them a second time, trying to figure out what they really mean, or maybe just trying to absorb the shock of it all. The silence stretches on between us, thick and heavy. I don't know what to say either. I'm still processing the fact that this letter even exists. I didn't even know Mom had left anything behind for me, let alone a message like this. It's not the kind of thing you expect from someone who walked out of your life without a word. Holly looks up from the letter, her eyes wide and unfocused, like she's seeing me for the first time. Her lips tremble as she takes a step back, slowly sinking into the chair behind her. Her fingers still clutch the paper, crumpling it slightly in her hand. She doesn't meet my eyes, her gaze fixed on some point just beyond me. She's not angry anymore. She looks broken. Finally, she speaks, but her voice is small, barely above a whisper. I didn't know she still cared. The words hit me like a punch to the gut. I don't know what to say to that, so I just stand there, waiting. Holly isn't one to show vulnerability, not in front of me, at least. She's always been the strong one, the one who kept everything together, even when everything around her was falling apart. But now? Now, she looks fragile, like the foundation of everything she's built is starting to crack. I thought she'd forgotten about us, she says, the words almost lost in the thick air of the room. I thought she was just gone. But this, she pauses, her voice trembling again. She didn't forget, did she? I can't answer her. I don't know if I can. I can't speak for Mom. I can't speak for the decisions she made, or the way she left. I don't know what her intentions were when she wrote that letter, and I'm not sure I'll ever understand. But I do know that hearing my sister say that, hearing her admit that she'd been carrying this weight all these years, it hits me harder than I expected. Why didn't you tell me? Holly asks, her eyes finally meeting mine. Her voice cracks, and it feels like all the walls we've built between us over the years are starting to fall apart. Why didn't you ever tell me Mom left you something? Why didn't you tell me she cared? I feel the sting of guilt in my chest. I didn't tell her because I didn't know how. How do you tell someone something like that, especially when they've been so angry at you for so long? Holly and I haven't shared anything meaningful in years. We'd barely spoken beyond the obligatory family events, the occasional polite nod when we passed each other. And now, I'm standing here, trying to make sense of everything that's been broken between us. I didn't know, I say quietly. I didn't know anything about the letter until today. I wasn't expecting any of this. Holly's gaze softens, just for a second, before the walls go back up. She looks at me, her expression unreadable. I thought I was the one who kept everything together. I thought I was the one who was supposed to fix things. I swallow hard, trying to keep my voice steady. You did, Holly. You did everything you could. You were there for Dad. You were there when I couldn't be. I'm not saying you didn't try. She closes her eyes for a moment, and when she opens them again, they're filled with a mix of frustration and sorrow. It's not just about fixing things, Lauren. It's about being seen. It's about being the one who was always there, who always gave everything, and still, it wasn't enough. I nod, understanding the weight of her words. I've never been in her shoes. I left. I walked away from everything, and I don't know what it felt like to be the one who stayed behind, the one who had to pick up the pieces after everything fell apart. Do you think I wanted this? She asks suddenly, her voice rising just enough to snap me out of my thoughts. Do you think I wanted Dad to die and leave everything to you? I flinch, but I don't look away. I didn't want this either, Holly. For a long moment, she doesn't say anything. She just stares at the letter in her hands, her fingers slowly straightening out the crumpled edges. Her face is a mask of grief and anger and regret, but under it all, there's something softer, something I've never seen before. It's the look of someone who's been holding on to too much for too long. I just wanted something to be mine, she finally says, her voice barely above a whisper. Something that felt like it was real. Like I mattered. The words sting because I know exactly what she means. I've spent years trying to find a place for myself, a way to make peace with everything I left behind. But I never thought about what it meant to her, the sister who stayed. The one who never had the chance to escape or find her own path. I never wanted to take anything from you, Holly, I say, my throat tight. This wasn't about trying to hurt you. I didn't ask for this. She looks up at me then, her eyes searching mine, as if trying to figure out if I mean it. For a moment, I feel like I'm seeing her for the first time in years, really seeing her, not the person she wants the world to see, but the person she's been hiding from everyone, including herself. Holly takes a deep breath, and for a second, it feels like we're both just waiting. Waiting for something to change, for the air between us to shift. And then, in the quietest voice I've ever heard from her, she says, I'm scared, Lauren. I'm scared of losing everything. Of losing you. Of losing what we were. I'm scared of what happens if we don't fix this. Her words settle in the air between us, and I feel the weight of them, like they've been hanging there for years, unspoken. I don't know how to fix it. I don't know if I can. But I do know that in this moment, something feels different. Something's shifted between us. The walls, the years of silence, the anger, it's all still there, but it's not as heavy. Not right now. I sit down across from her, closer than before, and let the quiet fill the room. There's no rushing this. There's no quick fix for what we've both gone through. But for the first time in a long time, I feel like we're both standing in the same place, looking at the same broken pieces, ready to figure out what comes next. The air between Holly and I feels different now. Lighter, but still fragile. There's a quiet understanding between us that wasn't there before, like the first crack in a dam, small, but powerful enough to shift everything else. We're not fixing everything, not yet. But for the first time in years, I feel like we could. Holly takes a deep breath, staring down at the letter from Mom, and for a moment, it feels like she's finally letting go of some of the anger that had been weighing her down. The room is so still, and I almost want to hold my breath, afraid of shattering this fragile truce between us. I don't know how to deal with this, Lauren, she says quietly, her voice much softer now. I don't know what to do with all of it. I take a deep breath, finally feeling like I have the words I've been searching for. I don't have all the answers either. But we can't keep carrying this weight, Holly. We've spent too many years holding on to grudges, trying to punish each other for things we never said. I don't want to be stuck in this bitter cycle. She looks at me then, and it feels like she's really seeing me for the first time in a long time. The years of distance, of silence, of anger, all of it still hangs in the air, but it feels different now. I know we can't just go back to being the sisters we used to be, but I also know that if we don't try, we'll lose each other forever. I don't know how to make it right, Holly whispers, looking at the letter again, her fingers running over the edges. I don't know how to fix all the things we broke. I nod slowly, my own heart heavy with everything unspoken. We don't have to fix everything. But we can start. We can start with being honest. With letting go of the things that have held us back. She stares at the letter again, and I can see her eyes beginning to soften, a faint tremor in her voice when she speaks next. You know, I never wanted the house. Not really. I didn't want the responsibility of it. I didn't want the business, or the weight of all of it. I wanted you to be a part of this family again, Lauren. I wanted things to feel like they did before, when we were still kids, when everything wasn't so messed up. Her words hang in the air like a heavy sigh, and I realize something then. She didn't want revenge. She didn't want to take everything from me. She wanted something that she couldn't quite grasp, something that I think we both lost when everything went wrong. She wanted the family we used to have, the one that could laugh together, share memories, and just be. I don't want to take everything, Holly, I say, my voice steady but soft. I didn't want it, not this way. But I don't think Dad left it to me to punish you. I think he knew something we didn't. Maybe he knew that this mess would push us to face what we've been running from. She looks at me, her face still tight with a mixture of grief and regret, but I see something else too. A flicker of hope. A glimmer that maybe, just maybe, this is the moment where we both get to choose a different path. The silence between us stretches on, but it's not as thick now. I can see her mind working, her fingers slowly smoothing the letter out. Finally, she lets out a breath and looks up at me, a strange calm settling over her face. You're right, she says, her voice firmer now, though there's still a trace of vulnerability in it. We don't need to fight over this. We don't need to tear each other apart anymore. I've spent too many years feeling angry and bitter, and it's not doing either of us any good. I don't know if we'll ever be the same as we were before, but at that moment, I realized something. We don't need to be the same. We just need to be able to see each other again, to understand each other. Maybe it'll take time, maybe it won't happen all at once, but I can feel the change happening in that room, like a shift in the air. I think, Holly says slowly, I think we can both figure this out. But I don't need the estate to do it. I never needed it. My heart skips a beat. I've known Holly for long enough to recognize when she's being serious, and this time, it's different. She's not saying it out of obligation or bitterness. She's saying it because she means it. I'll take what's fair, I say, finally finding my voice. We can split it, Holly. I don't need everything. I never did. I just want to make sure we're not going to destroy each other in the process. There's a long pause. Holly looks at the papers again, the legal documents that once felt like a weight around our necks. And then, slowly, she stands up, walking toward me. She hands me the letter from Mom, and her eyes are steady, no longer full of the anger and frustration they once held. You don't have to do this alone, she says. I'm here. We're still family, even if it doesn't feel like it. And that's when I finally realize something else. Revenge, whether it's in the form of money, power, or pride, isn't really what either of us wanted. We'd both been so focused on what we lost that we forgot to see what we could still build. And in that quiet, private moment, I feel the change settle between us like the softest breath of fresh air. We weren't going to destroy each other. Not this time. The estate, the house, the business, it all becomes secondary. What matters is the fragile bridge we've started to rebuild. It's not perfect, and maybe it never will be, but it's something. It's a step forward. And for once, it feels like the weight of the past is starting to lift.